So in this video today, we're going to talk about functions. So what are functions? Functions are basically if you want to do some type of behavior over and over again, you can group it into one procedure or function, and you can call that to make those same lines of code run over and over again, rather than having to type out the same lines multiple times. In particular, one example is I make a sandwich for lunch every day. So if I want to make a sandwich, I don't have to write out all the steps in making a sandwich, adding the bread, the lettuce, the tomato, and more bread over and over again. Instead, I could just call my make sandwich function. So let's walk through how you write the syntax of a function declaration. So if we're going to make a function for making a sandwich, let's go through the function declaration, or the top line of the function that declares that you're making it. So we have that keyword function, and then we have a space in the name of the function, so make sandwich. And we're going to make a veggie sandwich, so let's say make veggie sandwich. Then we have parentheses, and in these parentheses are going to go our parameters. But right now we're not going to talk about that, and so we'll move on from there. Just remember to put 2 parentheses here. Then you put a colon and your return type. For now, we're just going to do void, which means this function is not going to return anything. And then you have open brackets, and everything that's in your function, the function body, will go in the middle, and then we'll have closed brackets. So now that we're in the function body, let's put something in there. So let's put a print statement that says making a veggie sandwich. So print quotes making a veggie sandwich. Now say we want to call this function. We want that print line to appear. Below this function or above, it doesn't matter where in Visual Studio Code, you call that function. So all you have to do is say the name of the function and then your parentheses. So those parentheses are empty right now because we don't have parameters. So we only say make veggie sandwich, parentheses, and then semicolon. And that's going to call our function. And as you can see, that print statement shows up here in our web page.
Alright, so now that we know the basic syntax of writing a function, let's make our function do something interesting. So Kate said that she makes a veggie sandwich every day. So instead of this print statement inside the function body, let's put some more print statements and some images to represent going through the process of making a veggie sandwich. If we save this and run it, you can now see that we have a bunch of pictures. So we've got bread, lettuce, tomato, more bread, and then the final sandwich at the bottom. But I'm not really a fan of veggie sandwiches. I'm more of a peanut butter and jelly kind of guy. So I want to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you know, if we just use what we know so far in this video, we can go through the same process and write another function called make PB&J sandwich and write all these print statements and all these images out again in order to make my peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So here we have that make PBJ sandwich function. And you can see that it does the same thing as the make veggie sandwich does, but with peanut butter and jelly. Now, that was a ton of work to write all that out again. So wouldn't it be great if we had some way of breaking out the parts of those sandwiches into smaller parts that we could then compose together to make complicated sandwiches? So this is a good tip. Anytime you see code written over and over verbatim, anytime you're copying and pasting chunks of code, there's usually a better way to do that. And one way we're going to learn today is by breaking it up into functions.
Like Hank said, we have code that's being rewritten verbatim, particularly that bread code. So let's go through all the parts of our sandwiches and instead break them down into their own functions. So we're going to have a pantry of food functions. So let's make a bread function, which happens to look like this. So we just copied those 2 bread lines of I'm adding bread and the image into this function. And then let's make a lettuce function, a tomato function, and then peanut butter and jelly. So now we have all 5 of those functions. Now that we have all of our code delegated into smaller functions, let's go ahead and call all of those functions and rework our make veggie sandwich and make PBJ sandwich functions. So like Hank said, we have some code that's being rewritten twice. Particularly, the bread code is in both our veggie sandwich function and our PBJ sandwich function. So let's put all of our sandwich ingredients into their own functions. Now let's call those functions inside our larger make veggie sandwich function and make PBJ function. So in our make veggie sandwich function, now we have bread, lettuce, tomato, bread, those function calls. And we have a similar thing in our PBJ function. So now that we have our pantry of food item functions, we can do cool things and make different kinds of sandwiches. For instance, say if I feel like in a PB&J sandwich I never get any vegetables in, I can come up with a brilliant idea of making a lettuce and peanut butter sandwich. So now we can make a function called make lettuce PB sandwich and just put the bread, peanut butter, lettuce, and bread function calls in there and we're done.
We hope this was a tasty video.
Yum!